you grooming your kids for obesity? Well, here's 3 things that you can do to groom your kids for obesity. And if you're doing them, take note. One is you yourself are living an overweight lifestyle. So you're essentially just training your child how to be overweight. Whether you think about it or not, whether you care about it or not, that's what you're demonstrating. You're setting an example for them. This is how to live your life. So that's going to put them at certainly a disadvantage when it comes to figuring this out. That's number 1. Number 2 is you want to protect them from hard things or from difficulty. I remember years ago, my wife told me about some friends of ours who the mother would keep Oreos in the front seat of the car, and if they ever started acting up in the back seat, she would just give them all an Oreo. And I'm not saying that's always wrong, but I'm saying if that's your tendency, hey, if something's going wrong, let me just give you something to eat. I remember we tried to do this. We tried to be very conscious about it. And so when we would go out, we would say, I remember once we had a car full of kids and we went to the drive-thru at McDonald's, and I saw it as a teaching moment, and they were all yelling out what they wanted. We had our kids and some other kids, and I just got everybody a hamburger. And there was some dismay and confusion. It's like, I didn't even want a hamburger. And I was like, you know what? This is what we're going to eat tonight. We just played a soccer game or something. And sometimes we're training our children. And if that's important, you need to occasionally expect from them and talk to them about it. We have a saying in my program to embrace the hunger. There's times you're going to want to eat where you should embrace the hunger. Is that something you would ever tell your children? Hey, we're going to be hungry for a while. I know you're hungry now and dinner's not for 3 more hours, but we're going to figure out how to deal with that rather than say, well, go ahead and eat something. So that's number 2. You protect them from difficulty or hard things. Oh, last thing on that. I remember when my kids were playing soccer and doing things and they were, getting ready to go into high school, I said, do me a favor. I want you to run track one season. And the main reason for that was I wanted them to do something that was hard. The coach is going to say, go when you don't feel like going. So we've got to be willing to expose them to things that push them, that challenge them, that are difficult for them, that they might not really want to do. You're going to have that conversation. Number 3 is you simply lack conviction. It's just not important to you. That's big because a lot of people are like, I don't care about that. And if you compare that, let's say you're a Christian and you're setting an example for your children. You go to church every Sunday. Well, what if somebody doesn't feel like going to church? What if you feel like sleeping in? Well, if you have conviction about it, you go anyway. You spend time with those people. You make friends with those people. You have set an example. And you might say, well, I'm not a Christian. Okay, well, what about your work? You as a provider, you have a conviction. I provide for my family. I go to work. Even on days when I'm tired, I go to work. So you have a conviction about that. But when it comes to your health, weight loss, there's no conviction about it. If you don't feel like doing it, we're not going to do it. And that's where a lot of people, you're grooming your children to struggle with this for the rest of their lives for that. Hey, and if you need some help with it, if you haven't read my book, this will help you with that. The mindset that you need to deal with it. And then if you want to do my 21-day transformation, we always include a link in the bottom. So consider those things to help you along this road. It's not an easy thing. And I don't mean to come across as condemning on you, but the reality is if you're doing those 3 things, you're essentially grooming your children to have difficulty in an area where it shouldn't be that way. Hey, I'm Trainer Joe. Remember, train your brain and transform your body.